What if I told you that the secret to royal beauty in medieval and Renaissance Europe was not pearls, perfumes, or potions, but urine? Yes, behind the golden crowns and shimmering gowns of noble courts, there was a secret ritual, a practice whispered among ladies of the palace. Royal women, desperate for flawless, pale skin, believed that washing their faces with urine could cleanse, purify, and preserve their beauty. Welcome, my friends, to this channel, where we pull back the velvet curtains of history to reveal the shadows lurking underneath. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. Because tonight, you'll hear a tale so strange, so unsettling, you'll never look at beauty secrets the same way again. This is not a story of perfumes and roses. It is the dark history of beauty, a world where the quest for purity led queens and princesses to rituals we would call grotesque today. And yet, in their eyes, it was science. Urine, they believed, had the power to disinfect, to soothe the skin, to whiten the face. A sacred cosmetic, drawn not from alchemy or rare herbs, but from the most common source imaginable. Stay with me, because what begins as a shocking rumor in the royal chambers will unfold into one of the strangest chapters of European beauty history. The origins of this unsettling ritual reach back further than the marble halls of Europe's palaces. Long before queens and noblewomen took to washing their faces with urine, physicians and philosophers of the ancient world praised it as medicine. In classical Greece, Hippocrates, the so-called father of medicine, recorded urine as a diagnostic tool. He observed its color, its texture, even its scent, to determine the balance of the body's humors. And in Rome, Pliny the Elder wrote that urine could whiten teeth, cleanse wounds, and soften the skin. From these beginnings, a strange idea took root. Urine was not waste, but essence. It was thought to contain the body's inner purity, distilled and ready for reuse. Fast forward to medieval Europe. Physicians steeped in Galenic theory preached that the body was a system of four humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Illness came from imbalance, and urine was seen as a reflection of that balance, a liquid mirror of health. If it could diagnose disease, why not also cure it? Among the nobility, where beauty was more than vanity, where pale skin meant power, refinement, and divine favor, the logic seemed irresistible. Urine was mild, cleansing, and ever-present. Applied to the skin, it was believed to kill unseen impurities, brighten the complexion, and preserve a youthful glow. Whispers began in the courts of Europe. Noblewomen, especially those obsessed with complexion, experimented with the practice. Some diaries hint at queens who swore by the ritual, though their names were cloaked in discretion. To bathe one's face in urine was shocking by today's standards. But then it was simply another potion in the endless war against blemishes, freckles, and age. And here lies the paradox of dark history. The very substance we discard without thought was, for centuries, treasured as a cosmetic fit for royalty. To understand why noblewomen clung to such a bizarre ritual, we must first understand the cruel standards of beauty that reigned over medieval and Renaissance Europe. Beauty was not simply about vanity. It was about status, morality, even salvation. A pale, spotless face was the emblem of nobility. Sun-darkened skin suggested labor in the fields work reserved for peasants. But translucent whiteness? That meant leisure, refinement, and the blood of kings. Women of the court, therefore, went to astonishing lengths to preserve their skin. They smeared their faces with white lead paint, despite its deadly toxicity. They dusted crushed pearls over their cheeks. They anointed themselves with mercury and arsenic, trading health for an illusion of perfection. Within this desperate arsenal, urine was not the strangest weapon. It was simply another tool. Diaries and beauty manuals whispered recipes. Wash with morning urine for freshness. Apply it with rose water for fragrance. Mix it into masks for clarity. The practice was rarely spoken of aloud, But in the privacy of chambers and boudoirs, it became a quiet obsession. For royal women, every glance was judgment. Ambassadors described them in reports. Poets immortalized them in verses. Painters captured their faces for centuries to admire. Any blemish could be read as weakness, any freckle as a stain on divine beauty. In such a merciless world, even urine became a luxury, a secret shield against imperfection. Rumors spread through courts. The queen's complexion glows like marble because she bathes in her own essence. Some dismissed it as gossip, others rushed to imitate. For in a time when science had not yet revealed the dangers, belief was stronger than doubt. Behind jeweled crowns and gowns of silk, noblewomen endured lead poisoning, mercury burns, and the acrid sting of urine, all for the promise of eternal youth. To the people of medieval and Renaissance Europe, urine was not just waste, it was a window into the soul of the body. Physicians working under the humoral theory believed that urine revealed the truth of a person's health. They held it up to the light, swirled it in glass flasks, and studied its color and cloudiness like alchemists gazing into crystal balls. Was it pale and clear? Then the body was in balance. Was it dark or murky? Then illness lurked inside. If urine could diagnose, many reasoned it could also cure. Some physicians wrote treatises claiming that urine could soften skin, cleanse wounds, and even fight infection. The logic was simple, if flawed. Urine leaves the body pure, filtered, sterile. Return it to the skin, and it restores purity. Modern science reveals the truth is more complicated. Urine does contain compounds like urea and ammonia, which can have mild antibacterial properties. In fact, urea is still used today in some dermatological creams. But alongside these compounds are salts, toxins, and waste products meant to be expelled, not reapplied. The noblewomen who bathed their faces in urine might have noticed short-term effects. A fleeting clarity, a tightened complexion. This would have only reinforced the myth. It works, they whispered, never realizing the long-term harm. And yet, the belief persisted not because of results, but because of desperation. In a world without antibiotics, without modern skincare, people clung to any hope, no matter how strange. The myth of urine as a cosmetic spread through courts and households alike. It was written in hushed notes, passed down as secret knowledge, defended as science. But in reality, it was little more than misplaced faith dressed up in medical robes. Here lies the dark truth. What they called purity, we would call delusion. What they saw as medicine, we now see as myth. By the 19th century, the golden age of urine as a cosmetic had faded. The rise of modern science stripped away centuries of superstition. Chemists and physicians exposed what the noble courts had refused to see. Urine was waste, not wonder. Its fleeting benefits were outweighed by irritation, odor, and the risk of infection. And yet, the memory of this ritual never vanished. Victorian writers, fascinated by the grotesque, dug up old beauty manuals and laughed at the absurdity of queens bathing in their own essence. Satirical newspapers mocked the perfume of the chamber pot, turning history's secret into public ridicule. But behind the laughter lingered a darker reflection. How could women of intelligence and power, surrounded by wealth and wisdom, cling to such a practice? The answer is not ignorance, but desperation. In a world where beauty was power, every weapon was worth wielding, even one so humiliating. Strangely, the story did not end there. Even in the 20th and 21st centuries, whispers of urine therapy reappeared in fringe health circles. Some claimed it could heal acne. Others touted it as a miracle detox. What was once a royal beauty ritual now resurfaced as pseudoscience. History, it seems, has a way of repeating its follies. Today, when we look back at portraits of queens with porcelain skin, we rarely imagine the secret behind the glow. We admire the paint, the pearls, the artistry of the canvas, but not the acrid sting behind the scenes. Yet the truth remains. Beauty, in every age, has demanded its sacrifices. The legacy of this dark ritual is not the method itself, but the lesson it leaves. It shows us how the pursuit of beauty can twist logic, bend science, and lead even the most powerful into absurdity. It warns us to question our own rituals, our injections, our surgeries, our filters. What will future generations say of us? For now, we leave the royal chambers of Europe, where noblewomen once washed their faces not with roses or gold, but with the strangest cosmetic of all. And we remember that history is not only written in crowns and wars, it is etched into the intimate, desperate rituals of the human body.